He was born in Fitzgerald, Georgia, which is down in the south central part of the state. His family moved to Atlanta when Dad was very young. I don't think he'd started school, and I don't have a date on that, but he grew up in what was the poor part of Atlanta, which is now the rich upper north side. Buckhead. He grew up in Buckhead. I don't know if you know that area, but Dad said it was the poor side of town, but now it's where all the rich people live. His family ran a bakery. You know, I don't know a lot about his growing up years. He went to Tech High School, which somehow was associated with Georgia Tech. He put himself through Georgia Tech, graduated as a chemical engineer at the top of his class. He was in the ROTC at Tech because, you know, they were poor, and he was working part-time as a delivery guy and, you know, doing part-time jobs that he could find. And also, the ROTC paid him a small stipend. When he graduated, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Army Reserve. I have his original commission. But there was no active duty and therefore no money. This is in 1938, which was in the depth of the Depression. As a top-flight technical school chemical engineer graduate, there was no work to be had. His ROTC instructor told him, because he was at the top of his ROTC class too. I don't know if he was the battalion commander or what, but he was, you know, way up there. His ROTC instructor told him that the Marine Corps was expanding and they were looking for officers and were offering regular commissions on a competition basis, and suggested that Dad apply, and he did, and was accepted. So he became a Marine pretty much by accident. never intended to be a Marine. I don't know that a lot of people know that.
That's interesting.
But he fell into the job. He went through the basic school, which was then at the Philadelphia Naval Yard in 1938. Was commissioned. My recollection is that he spent his first 3 years as a second lieutenant as a gunnery officer on USS Portland, which was a cruiser. Sometime in 1940 or 41, Marine Corps established a base at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and he was assigned to that task, and I don't know what his exact job was, but, you know, at the time there was nothing there but the beach and the woods. But as they set up camp, because the Marine Corps was expanding, I think before the war there was not a division of Marines, there was a regiment or two. By the end of the war there were 6 divisions. But in any event, during that time at Camp Lejeune is where he met my mother, who was a school teacher in Washington, North Carolina, down in Pamlico Sound. They got married and he went off to war. Like I said, he was in the ROTC because it gave him a little money to help him get through school, and he joined the Marines because it was the only job there was. It's the gospel truth.
Yeah, wow. And did your dad have any brothers or sisters?
He had an older brother and a younger brother. His older brother is named Lloyd. He was a welder, and in fact he spent the war building ships at Norfolk or at Newport News. His younger brother was a Marine who fought in the Pacific. He was enlisted. His name was Tribby, Tribby, which was my grandmother's maiden name.
Did you know your grandparents, his parents, fairly well?
Yes. They were from Indiana. Sometime around the turn of the century, the early 1900s, they moved to Fitzgerald, Georgia. This is an interesting sideline of history that a lot of people don't know, but when General Sherman went through Georgia from Atlanta to the coast, he Yankees. And my grandparents joined that colony some years after it was established, but they moved from Indiana to Fitzgerald, Georgia. That's how my dad ended up in Georgia. He was born there.
But tell me your father's parents. What were their names?
His dad was Raymond Roy Davis, and his mother's name was Zelma, Zelma Tribby, Tribby Davis.
And do you know what kind of work your grandfather did?
Well, he ran a bakery pretty much most of his life, or worked in a bakery. My grandfather was a temperamental man and had difficulty holding a job. Didn't drink, but he had a temper. And that's one reason that they didn't have a lot of money. But during my dad's grown-up years, they operated a bakery in Buckhead. That's basically what I know about him. When I was a kid growing up, my grandparents had moved to Barnesville, Georgia, which is kind of in the center of the state, and lived on some property that my father had purchased after the war. And he worked in the local ice house. You may not be old enough to remember this, but it used to be that there were always companies in town that made ice, and they would deliver big blocks of ice to people's homes, put in their ice boxes.
Yes. Do you know what kind of effect the Depression had on your father and his family?
Well, yeah, it was devastating. I don't know that the move from, Dad was born in 1915, so the Depression started in 1929, 1930. He would have been a young teenager then. They just didn't have any money, and I've always regretted not knowing more about his growing up years. It's too late for that now, but like I said, he worked. Mom and Dad had this bakery. Dad worked delivering stuff, worked in the bakery. He had different kinds of part-time jobs. They somehow scraped through.
Did he have a first love? If he hadn't have gone into the Marines, was there something that he would have liked to have done?
Well, yeah, he was an engineer. He wanted to be an engineer. And that's he went to Georgia Tech. He chemical engineer.
Okay.
I don't know what a chemical engineer would have done in the 1930s and early 40s, but that was his plan. I mentioned that after he was commissioned, he spent 3 years on a cruiser. Because he was an engineer, he expressed an interest in artillery. And when he went to Guadalcanal, he wasn't an infantry officer. He was in charge of what they call the Special Weapons Battalion, which was the heavy anti-aircraft machine guns and stuff like that. He got into the infantry later in the war.
So when did your father got married? When to your mother?
Oh gosh, well, it would have been in the early 40s. Let's see, they went to Guadalcanal. They were married in late 41 or early 42.
And what was your mother's name?
Willa, middle name Knox, Knox, Hefner, Heafner.
Okay.
And she went by Knox.
Just as a side note, everyone who I have spoken to not only has your father in high esteem, they talk about your mother in the same regard. So,
He was a pistol.
Yeah, that's quite a testament.